space that's around him. He's lightning fed by the space that surrounds him. Take it all in. Breathe. Forever be. Forever.
Hey, welcome to Unsung. I'm your host, Blake Quimby. We want to welcome you today to the episode. Before we get started, I want to just encourage you to go to these platforms, subscribe, follow us. We'd love to have you along for the journey as we talk with those that are lifting the limelight in their area, in their city, around the world, in a supporting role, and hearing their stories. I think it's so important. So come along for the journey. We'd love to have you along for that. And I think the horses would enjoy it too, as you see the horses. Our guest today is a talented musician. He's a much in demand drummer in our area, in the Houston area. He's done lessons, drumline. That'd be kind of fun to talk about. Orchestra. He's done it all, folks. He's a super cool dude. I want you to welcome Mr. Tyson. Mr. Tyson.
Fancy
welcome.
sound.
Hey, that's what we do
Thank
here.
you for having me, Mr. Blake.
Yes, and you know what our listeners probably don't know yet, but that was you with that nice kick intro, right?
Yes, I recognize that.
Yes, that's your kick.
Sounds like my foot.
Yeah, you know that's really interesting. You know, when you hear a record, I mean, I'm sure you can probably think, okay, now that person plays their kick that way. Have you ever? I've heard musicians say that before. Is that true? Like, can you listen to something and say, okay, I know that guy played on this record or this song?
There are certain people who, big time. You know, this is a certain sound, a certain feel that you can tell right away. And then there's a lot of people who can blend in really well, and you're just you don't know.
Well, I'm starting to learn your kick, your foot. I love it. So that was a beautiful contributor. So if you want to go look them up on wherever music's sold and buy their records, they have a few out. And I think you've played on probably all of them, right?
I think I did a couple. I did the last couple, and they had a couple before I was contributing.
That's awesome. And so you quickly told me a quick little story about that, how you guys, I guess, got your drum tone for that one specific song, which is called, I think it's called The Beautiful Side. Where were you all recording at?
That was I believe that was at Sunrise Meat Tech, where Jacob teaches. And we did it during his class one day, and I think it's that song where he walked around the room with the floor tom and just hit it, moved around, hit it, and then he found the exact spot where he wanted this floor tom to be, and we set up everything else around that. And I'm pretty sure it's that song, but there was a song like that, yeah.
Well, that sounds like
Very
fun.
specific.
Yeah, very specific, right?
It was cool. It's fun to contribute.
Yeah, well, yeah, it always sounds great. You always do a great job. And so, you know, I don't really know your whole story. I've been able to be blessed to work with you on a few things that I've done, me and my wife, and so we've loved having you a part of those projects that we worked on, and just seeing you when we get to see you or texting you. You've been so open and available to us, and so it's been so cool. But are you a native of Houston and of Texas? Of like, where did you grow up? Kind of what's your story?
Yeah, I was born here in Houston. I lived mostly here most of my life. I lived in Ohio for a little while as a child, but pretty much, in this area, this part of Texas. I mean, all my major schooling, formative years were in kind of the greater Houston area. And yeah, I started percussion in I think 6th grade, and I did it because my best friend at the time was going to take it, and he did it because his older brother did it, and neither of them were in it for more than like a year. They all went off to play football, and it's been 30 years now later. Mm-hmm. I was born in Houston. I lived in Ohio for a little while as a child, but spent my formative years, all my major schooling years were in this area, and did all the music that I've done has started here. I started playing percussion in I think 6th grade, and that was because my best friend at the time was taking percussion, and I was just wanted to be in his class, and he did it because his older brother did it for a little while, and
Wow.
they both did it for a couple of years, and then went off to play football, and it's been 30 years later for me now.
Wow. Okay, so you've been playing for a long
Yeah,
time, huh? And
yeah.
you've been married for how long now?
Um, 12 years, 12 and a half years.
Awesome. And I believe
See, I
what
knew you put me you put me on the spot,
I
but I
got you,
knew.
man. If your wife's
Yeah.
watching, um,
Uh-huh.
you said 12 years, and then you have two kiddos, right? Am I right?
Hmm. Yep.
Yep.
They
Awesome.
are two kiddos, 8 and 6. Yeah.
Man, that's super cool. Yeah, I have an 11-year-old who just turned 11, so please pray for me. And then an 8-year-old boy who just has a lot of questions. So, yeah, you're in the sweet spot, man.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. We're hitting some emotions right now, but yeah, it's a good time.
That's awesome, man. You love being a dad?
I love being a dad. Yeah.
Yeah. What's one of your one of your favorite parts of just being a dad?
They is this a family friendly show?
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. They
Yeah.
call you out on your malarkey.
There you go.
There we go.
I
That's a
totally
good
get
word.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
like that.
awesome. Yeah.
Just it's humbling. Yeah,
Yeah, when they're
in
little, they're so
in a really
honest,
good
right?
way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
Hmm.
That's so
Yeah.
true, man. They're so
Hmm.
honest. I used to wish us adults could be just as honest as they are, right?
Yeah. They're very grounding. Yeah.
You're like, what do you think of this fill, honey? Oh, Dad, that's garbage.
Oh yeah. I don't like that. What are you listening to? What is that? Oh, it's the song I was playing on. You don't like? No, what is that? All right.
And then you're like, man, what am I doing, right? Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. Being a dad is a man. It's fun. You never know. There's always some question. I'm sure. Are they real inquisitive? Do they ask you a lot of questions? Or they just real demanding? What kind of relationship you guys have?
Man, all of those things. They are so sweet at times and so inquisitive and curious and just so stubborn and feisty too, which I'm glad. That's good.
Are they
It's hard
more?
on us, but
Well, sure. Are they more like?
yeah.
Are they a good mixture of both of you guys, or just like more like you, more like your wife? What's
I would
the
say
combination?
it's a pretty good mixture, and of their own selves too. Like I like that I don't look at them and I don't see, oh, that's me or that's my wife or something like that. I There are a few things here and there, but I don't look at either of them and say, oh, they look just like me or they look just like my wife or look like somebody. They look like themselves. So
Right.
I like that. They don't
Yeah.
To me I don't see myself. I don't see, I just see them. So they
That's
definitely
awesome.
have an identity already, big time.
Hey, hey, if we can get their identity, that's great, man. That's super cool. You are doing the
Hmm.
right thing. You're doing a good job. um, so you've been in the music world you've had a career doing that for 30 years going on. And I know that you've engineered, so you've been on both sides of the game there. And you're definitely, man, I mean, for sure, one of the most in-demand drummers that I've heard of. So many people love working with you. What do you love the most though out of your job? Do you love to do? I know you love studio stuff, but like, is it kind
Hmm.
of like you love kind of both? I mean, what is something that you really love? Studio, live, creating. What is something you love? Which one do you love
But
most?
my number one is studio because I like to create. Especially if I can something from nothing. Like if the song is mostly untouched and I can come in there and put my stamp on it or really be a part of that creation. That's my favorite thing. That's definitely hands down my favorite thing. Um, I love playing live because you don't get that energy in the studio. That's hard to match. But definitely getting to create, especially from the ground up, somebody who has just a sketch of a song and you be part of that process. That's my favorite. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I don't want to get too far into our episode before I like show just what you do and who you are. And so I have some clips, if you don't mind. I want to
Sure.
show a couple quick things. This is you as a turkey. That's nice. That turkey can play. You even got this going on. Oh, and I would be remiss if we didn't have some. What was it at? There's a country thing here. I can't remember where it was. With the oh, here it is right here. I love this one.
Oh, with Dan,
the most amazing Dan Smith, right? Here we go.
Oh, yes.
You got it. You got going on. But I think that the most classic one that I look forward to every year is this one right here.
Nah.
Man, that's my thing I look forward to every Christmas. And I have to tell you, you got some quick hands when you're looking at your chart. You're just like, I mean, I've seen you tons of times, like you're working, you're like, you slide your finger real quick or whatever on your iPad.
Yeah.
But that's the guy playing with you. That's Nolan Burke. And I'm trying to get him on here. So Nolan, I know you're listening. We need you on, buddy. But that's at the church you play at on Sundays, River Point. And that's just a taste of what Tyson has to offer, which is tasty. You just sound so tasty.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Blake.
Yeah. I guess I might be hungry. I'm not sure what I am, but So what made you want to become a musician?
Wasn't much else that I really wanted to do. It was almost like a process of elimination maybe at the time. I didn't realize I loved playing for years and years. I loved playing, and it wasn't until much later I realized that you could be a musician and make a living and not be, I don't know, in Van Halen or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I'm naming the biggest band of the 90s and the 80s. But
Well, yeah. So you knew that. I mean, you at some point you figured out, oh man, I can do this this can be maintainable for me, right?
yeah, I just kind of kept falling into some things, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, well this is new. Okay, this is cool, and this is an opportunity, and it's kind of like things kind of piece together in a way that just through opportunities and just meeting new people. And at some point, I kind of realized, oh, okay, well, I think this might be sustainable.
Sure. And I think that's something that's really interesting about you because it has been sustainable. You have a family, wife, all that, and you guys do life. But it's so important, to talk about just the attitude of it all. I think that really means a lot to you. Just the attitude of the people you work with, your, whatever artist or studio you're with. And I think that's how you've built a track record. It seems like to me, I think people, really love that about what you do is just your attitude. And can you talk to that a little bit? Why attitude means so much in an industry, in a career that might have some people that are, up and down. They might be really great musicians. I mean, let's not get us wrong,
Yeah.
right? We probably know a lot of those guys that are great
Hmm.
musicians, but just like they can't do accounting, they can't do scheduling. It's really tough. So, talk about the attitude and then just the talent and the skills that are so important to your profession.
Yeah, attitude is a big deal. You can get a gig. You can get a gig with talent, um, but to keep a gig, you can't be a jerk. You got to be accommodating. You got to be just good to be around because you'll spend, especially if you're traveling together, you're going to spend 24 hours probably together and 1 hour on stage maybe or something like that. Just a lot of time hanging out backstage, whatever, in a hotel or just load in things like that. Just being helpful, being friendly, just not being a jerk, not being a diva about things. It goes a really long way.
No, I'm not going to ask the question of if you have seen the diva come out, but I'm pretty sure you have with the many different backstages you've been in.
Oh yeah,
Uh, you know,
I'm guilty too. I've done it before certainly, but it happens from time to time. But yeah, you try and keep that in check and just be thankful that you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so great to even say that again to people who are listening. Even and it doesn't really matter if you're a musician or if you're, bus driver, whatever.
Hmm.
It's attitude. You said that you wrote this here. You said attitude means so much. Talent, skills are important, but attitude will keep you hired.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's so important in your profession, in your career. And another thing that I think is really interesting about you too is that you're flexible, but also you know about like just the practical thing of running a business. I mean, you are a business. Who you are,
Right.
what you do. We can have the talent, skill, attitude, all that kind of stuff. But if we sit here and say, "Oh man, whatever rate you charge or whatever it
Yeah.
is," I mean, you have to learn a little bit about that, right? Is that a valid question there to learn some of that backing to help you out with your success as a musician?
No, for sure. Like it's like running at minimum a one person business. Sometimes if you're contracting other people, yeah, you're paying other people or whatnot. But at the very least, it's like running a one person business. And yeah, just keep track of your stuff. That goes a long way. It's not that hard. You could get a piece of paper and write down what you've made if you want. I mean, there are much more technologically advanced ways to do that, but yeah, I've talked to other musicians who and had conversations at times where they'll like, oh, I guess I'll do their taxes. Oh, I gotta look at my bank deposits and just see what I made this year. And okay, you don't know what you made. That's not good. Just hoping.
Right.
But yeah, it's not hard. I mean, if I can figure it out, and a lot of people have more complicated finances. But yeah, just being on top of things, being knowing, and as a self-employed, as a freelance person, that's super important.
Yeah, I mean, and if you need help, call Mr. Tyson. He'll help you, or he'll steer you in the right direction, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, those two things are important: attitude, and then having a stat backing, that financial backing. Because you said especially in a freelance environment. I mean, because I've known guys that will travel, you know, say to Pasadena for $50 every
Yeah,
week, and it's like, man, nowadays it's like, man, that's gas. It's just gas. That's all it is, right?
yeah,
And so you might thought, I mean, it might be a fun opportunity, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, I need to be thoughtful of that. So there's a lot that goes into just being a musician than just being a great, a skilled player. So I think those are important. That's important advice, Tyson, Mr. Tyson. So I do want to ask you,
Mhm.
what inspires you, Tyson? What inspires you to do what you do?
I just love it. I like I really like playing the drums and making cool sounds. and just getting, I don't know, just improving. I don't know what it is, because there's a lot of music I play that I don't necessarily listen to, but it's different. I don't know, playing it. I don't know. It's just I find that in and of itself, just the music and the people, especially. I get to play with a lot of great musicians,
Yeah.
and who are also like most of my best friends are the people I play with,
Wow.
especially on a regular basis, which is better than most people can say about their job. Like you go to work, and then you have your friends, and the people I see on a regular basis are some of my best friends, which worked out nicely that way.
Man, that's it. That's such a great point.
Yeah.
When you get to create with your buddies, I mean, it's just fun, right? I mean,
Yeah.
my dad always tells me just, you know, love what you do. It really shouldn't be a job at the end of the day. It's just something you just love to
Mm-hmm.
do, right? And I have to tell you, man, I think it shows. I think it shows in your attitude. I think it shows in just your playing. You just, I don't know. There's just something about you that, for me, anyways, that when you play, it's like, man, I feel like you're creating this beat and this feel, and I can feel it. It's tangible. To me, it just feels real tangible, real to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really interesting how you have that. What's inspiring you? Are there any? Are there any pre-show rituals? Anything that you do? And not even a ritual, but like something you do, before you play anywhere. Do you snap 4 times before you go on stage or something, or spit in a can?
Well, I sacrifice a live chicken, and
Yes. Always a
Uh,
chicken. Poor chicken.
but I think I picked that up from you. I think so. That was a good
Yeah,
move, because
yeah,
that's really
yeah.
helped. Yeah, my time's
Yeah, we
gotten
do
better.
3 chickens, so all the
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah, in threes. My aunt told me. So we had a family. We had a family member pass away. Well, I didn't really know the guy, but and he played. He was the keyboard player for Atlantic Rhythm Section.
Okay.
Dean Daughtry, and great player or whatever. But he had passed away, and my aunt was like, "Oh no, they people when they die in threes," and she was so nervous about oh my goodness. And lo and behold, man, like we had then the next week we had 2 other people that passed away, and we're like, okay, something might be.
Oh no.
Oh no, I better pull away from that steak.
Oh god.
But anyways, man, yeah, anything you do before you play that that I don't know if you just get focused. I don't know. Is there anything that you particularly do?
Sometimes, depends on the gig. That sometimes I will try and get a little focus. Honestly, often I don't do anything. I just kind of go on stage and go for it. If I've been sitting around a long time, if there's a long waiting period, I'll kind of do some jumping jacks or something, get the blood flowing. I've been trying to be better about warming up before I go on, so I carry a little practice pad around in my stick bag and just kind of warm up
Okay.
a little bit, but nothing super ritualistic, nothing
Yeah.
terribly consistent. Just little things like that, as I can, I guess.
Sure. Is there anyone that you want to collaborate with that that you'd be interested in doing that with? Maybe local or on the global scale.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Well, let's narrow it down to like the top. Say
Okay.
like the top 3 or something.
Man, looking around the room for inspiration.
Look at the country boy,
Yeah.
country baby.
Well, see,
Country baby.
I get to collaborate with Country Boy.
Yes. Who is again
So-
astounding musician.
It'd be fun actually, and it won't happen for a few more years maybe, but it would be fun to collaborate with my kids.
Oh yeah.
Like that just hit me as something that would be pretty amazing to be able to do, because I mean I can fantasize about playing with, I don't know, whoever, and but it just occurred to me. I was like, well, they're kind of starting to learn a little bit, and it'd be awesome someday to play with them.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. I feel the same way. My kids are starting to sing now. They're starting to play, and
Mm-hmm.
they're starting to sing harmony. My little girl sings harmony. My son, and so
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
hey, maybe this might be fun. Like, maybe one day we can do a song or something.
Yeah.
I love that. And you play all genres. So I mean, you could probably do anyone, right? I mean, if is there any? What about a country artist? I'll just get real direct. Is there any country artists, rock artists, pop artists that you're like, okay, I would if they called me, I definitely would love to do that.
I gotta throw out George Strait because I would want to play the chair with him.
There you go.
I would have to play the chair with him. That's a
Excuse
whole
me.
other. Yep. That's a whole other inside joke. But
I love
would be
inside
the
jokes. I
envy.
just hope to be a part of one day.
Well, you're on the inside.
That's hilarious. So George
We'll put it
Strait
in
for
your next
sure.
song. Yeah, more for the joke. Honestly, the joke would be worth it alone.
Yeah.
Just yeah. I didn't even care
That's
if I
awesome.
keep the gig.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I totally get it. So tell me about this country baby boy because you have it on your drum. Do you have it anywhere? You have a picture anywhere close by you or anything?
I don't think I have a sticker. So here I gotta kind of. I'm sort of between. I'm gonna point this down. I'm sort of between. Between projects here, so there's
Sure.
stuff everywhere. But
That's
there
great.
is. That's a drum head. Oh, there's part of my old chair that I'm sitting in. Yeah, baby country boy. He gets around. It confuses
I saw that.
most people. Somebody thought I was in a cult. I had a guy. He was a studio client of mine, and he texted me, and he said, "Hey, what's the deal with this baby country boy? Is you in a cult or something?" Like, I think he was serious. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
fun to just. It's such a weird thing. Like, yeah.
Well, is that who's what picture is that? Who is that?
That's Adam Countryman.
Is
as
that-
a
oh,
baby.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you. It all makes
Yeah.
sense now. That all makes
Uh-huh.
sense, which is really hilarious because I've never met him, and my kids go to the same karate instructor as his son goes to, or sons.
Oh, okay.
And it was one of those days I walked in and I saw him. I was like, "Is that Adam Countryman?" And then I don't know why I felt this way. It's like, "Oh man, he's pretty awesome. I better." So I text Jacob and I was like, "Hey Jacob, is this?" I sent a picture of him. He's like sitting, he's sitting, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's him." And I was like, "Oh good." I'll go up. "Hey Adam, how you doing?" Such a nice guy, super cool guy.
Yeah.
Again, another guy I'd like to chat with because he does a lot for
Yeah.
a lot of people. So that's really interesting. I love that picture. When I first saw it, I think I cried laughing so hard.
It's so weird. It's a baby in a suit. I mean, but there's so much, and you'll have to get a lot of story out of him and Jacob, who
I will.
I think Jacob is responsible for rediscovering this painting. Yeah.
Yes, we will. We will commandeer them and get them to come on and tell us the story of Country Baby Boy.
Special 3-part episode.
Yes. It might. I think it might take all three of you guys possibly. So we'll have to have their people call my people possibly, or get some Whataburger over.
Nice.
But so hey man, we have a couple more questions. I just want to. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today. But
Yeah.
I had a few more I wanted to ask you as we round out our time. So I'm sure we've all done this. We've been doing something we love. We're in the middle of this thing, but you've played many events, different artists. You've done a lot of different things, and a lot of local things. But when you get a chance to you're in the moment, you're playing at this thing. Do you ever get the chills and I can't believe I'm doing this. Like I'm actually doing it. Has there ever been a time like that in your life?
Oh yeah, several times, and for me that's a dangerous feeling because then I start to get out of the moment and I start to think about things, and that is when stuff can go sideways. So I once in a while I think that, and then I just gotta right back into the music because I can't. Yeah, but I know the feeling, and I know when that comes up, and it's a really great feeling, but I know immediately I got to get out of that and think about it later.
Yes, because the groove is very important. But I remember you do, I believe, for many number of years, you guys have done the the Lutheran. Is it Lutheran conference or something?
It's a national youth gathering. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember y'all did Minute Maid. You did the Minute Maid this last year, I believe, and then maybe a few years ago, y'all did like in Minnesota, y'all did the whatever the name of that football stadium is.
Yeah, the U.S. Bank Stadium. Yeah.
And I remember y'all, some of y'all's, Nolan had posted some stuff, and you had, and I was like, I was just kind of, man, this is awesome. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, like that's a moment, I I remember playing this one stadium, and we were playing, and I looked up at the big whatever the video screen is. I look up, and I'm like, I had that moment. I froze in time while I was playing bass, so I guess it's the kit can carry me. I don't know. But I was playing and I looked up and I saw myself in the thing in the screen, and I literally went, "Hey!" I went, "Hey, it's me." and I forgot about there was a delay in that feed, and I quickly was like, "Oh no, I got to get back in the moment." So it was really hilarious.
Yeah.
But playing a big arena like that's pretty that can be intimidating, right? I mean, those big arenas are huge, aren't they?
It's huge. It's a big sound. It's a big sound,
Right.
and those places are usually not acoustically well treated.
Sure.
So you're definitely it's just like a massive sound that in a cool way, not necessarily in a good way for what you want to hear. But
Right.
yeah, it is something else to be in a
You
venue
know,
that size.
and I just have to think about that. I've only done it a couple times, but how do you prepare mentally for that? Because ultimately, you're the guy driving the entire train.
Mm.
I mean, and that's a massive. I mean, it's it, man. That's the. I mean, you're not playing a club, you're not playing a wedding, you're not playing a
Yeah.
church. You're playing in this ginormous. That's a word.
Yeah.
Arena. I mean, how do you prepare for that, man, mentally? Because I would say mentally, man, that's probably the first battleground, right? Battlefield.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I never I don't get nervous playing. It like doesn't matter the size. It doesn't really bother me. Now, if you take away the drums, I keep this set of drums between me and people, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You take that away, like doing an acoustic gig or something in a small room, and I'm right there at the front with a little percussion rig or something like that. That scares the hell out of me because I'm right there. I can see these people. I can look them in the eye right there.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But no, 30,000 behind a drum set, no, nothing.
As
Uh,
long as it just push them back,
yeah,
guys.
it's and yeah, that's just give me that drum set. I'm fine. No, I mean it's like any other. Honestly, it's like any other gig. Like learn the music, be flexible. That gig in particular is like it's like combining like a rock concert with being like the Tonight Show band playing cues and just doing a lot of left turns because there's a lot of productions is in our ear saying do
Sure.
this, do that, buy time, whatever. So it's a real yeah, it's kind of a combination of those kind of things. So definitely being able to just okay, we're gonna kill this song, we're gonna play this song instead. So be ready for that. But yeah, definitely those moments to enjoy them, like really knowing the music, knowing what's going on, so that you can enjoy it and you're not
Mm,
just all here.
right.
Yeah.
Television. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. There's a lot of things in a live production that is moving pretty quickly. So you got to be
Hmm.
ready. So I think that's really interesting and a good insight. What dream or dreams do you have that you still want to accomplish or see happen in your life? It could be musically, it could be
Mm,
whatever, but maybe we stick to the music part. What dreams you have?
I just want to get better.
Mm,
It's
wow.
not. It's not. I guess I don't have a specific. I like what I'm doing. I want to do more of it. I definitely want to. I want to make more records with people. I love that. If I did that for 8 hours a day every day, I'd be super happy.
That's
But
awesome,
yeah, I just
man.
enjoy like just
Yeah.
discovering, getting better, being a better player, being better at getting good drum sounds, or being better at recording, or just things like that. Like that's kind of the driving factor for me.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then what comes along with that is great.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, in 30 years is a long time, right? I mean, you've seen it from the start to now, and you know, I know the best is yet to come. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but I really feel like that for you. It's just keep on rolling, man. I mean, that's really all you can do at the end of the day. Keep on doing your thing, keeping having that attitude that you're known for, working hard. You're a hard worker, man. I will say your snare sounds are just beautiful. You have this one snare.
Thanks.
I never remember. What's the snare you bring all? I don't even remember the snare that you bring all the time.
It's
always,
probably it's the Ludwig Copperphonic. I bet that's the one. That's the one Jacob loves. He bought one as well. Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful. I remember on one time we had some song or something. It was a Saturday morning. It was like an 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock thing there, and I remember we were kind of at the very end of this thing, we're trying to wrap it up, and we brought you in for one more song, and you're like, "Hey, what?" I mean, I think it was the first couple times I met you, and you're like, "Hey, what would you want?" And I said, "Man, I said, Tyson, I don't really have any roadmap." I said, "Just do whatever you would like." And at least I listened back to that, and Jacob reminds me many times that he enjoyed doing that record with us. And I listened back to that one track. I can't remember the name of it now. If I put it in front of me, I could find it. But I just the creative part of you shined in that song, and it made it what it was. It was a very simple, no kind of frill song, and you made it just breathe and come alive, which many people can't do. And even if they are studio guys, are really great, they just play the parts. But you created something. It's breathing. I think when I think of you, I think of like what you create. It's like an actual tangible thing. So I remember hearing that back, and still I'll go back and listen to what you did. Like, man, I really enjoyed that creativity part of you. Because a part of what we're doing here with Unsung, the whole idea behind it is to take people that are, just doing a supporting role, whether that's in music or like, we're rolling out with a Montessori school teacher in a couple of weeks. So like it's everybody, right? There's a dance instructor coming on, many other people, and so it's not just musicians. But when you look at that, you want to. What are people saying about you? Because that's what's a big thing, right? It's not particularly, I care what people think. No, but like your close friends, people that you are in community with. And I think that I asked some people who you were. Like, just give me some words that would encourage and to just describe Mr. Tyson to me. And so here are some words, and we hope that this encourages you today. But you are meticulous, you're accommodating, you're reliable, you're timely, you're versatile, you're creative, you're funny. And the last one, I don't know, you probably know who would say this, is you're bald. But... but the thing of the matter is man, you are all those things and a lot more. Yep, look at that. He bestowed it upon us. Yes. The flexibility that you have, and you're a great dude to work with, and also just a great guy to talk with. So I appreciate you letting us have you today. I hope you're encouraged, man, to keep on rolling. My last question for you today is, if you could talk to somebody, and it doesn't, again, not has to be a musician, but it can just encompass everything. If you could tell someone just an encouraging word, maybe they're working hard, and they're not seen, and they're working hard, and they're doing a great job where they're supporting whatever role they're in. How would you encourage somebody? What would you say to them?
I mean, you gotta meet people. I mean, if you're already doing everything you can, and you're not seeing what you want, meet people, because in whatever field you're in, eventually you're gonna meet somebody who's gonna give you that's where the opportunities come from other people. So just get to know people, and I don't mean like networking. I don't know. I kind of hate that word, but just get to know people, and you'll eventually, in the world of music, I mean, there's people I've known for a few years before we ever played a note together. Just
Yeah.
we just run into each other or talk or something once in a while. We see each other, and then something happened, and it was like, oh hey, can you do this? Can you do this thing? So yeah, definitely that's a big deal, and consistency.
Yeah.
It is hard for sure in anything, and consistency. If you love it, keep coming back.
That's awesome, man. That's so great to hear. Well, man, we appreciate you. You know, if you're listening today, you're like, I like this Tyson guy. He's a cool dude. I want to take him to get some papacitos or some lupe. You hit him up at Tyson Hits Things on Instagram. You can find him there. There's a lot of different resources there just for you to watch everything he does, from the turkey heads he plays with to he's having so much fun with just being creative and fun and making it fun. So find him on Instagram, follow him, become his buddy. And maybe, you never know, one day you'll get to work with him on a project. I know that he takes, aren't you doing remote sessions too? Like you do, you're in person, you'll travel, you'll do stuff, but you're also, if people find you online, you can record stuff right where, that's your studio at home, right? Is that where we are?
Back here. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. How is that working for you? Is that fun? Is that a fun, time to just get a track and just work for a producer or whatever?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's something I always wanted to be able to do, and then in March, April 2020, I had nothing to do except read books and hang out, which that was fun. Hanging out with my family was fun, but it was an opportunity to fill the thing out and actually sit down and make it happen. And I've been pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be, when things get back rolling, I was like, okay, we'll see. I don't know how much this is going to continue to pin up, but it's still growing, which is great. There's another market for that kind of thing, which is cool. So yeah, I have a blast. I get to sit in here and be a mad scientist, be way overcritical.
That's awesome.
Take way too long to do something that would take me an hour in another studio. I sit there and get super anal and meticulous, like.
Yep. That's good stuff, man. Well, so if you want to work with Tyson, hit him up, like literally at Tyson Hits Things on Instagram. He'll be able to work with you. You want him to be your drummer, I promise you, on your project. So Mr. Tyson, we thank you,
thank you, Mr. Blake,
for giving this a floor run, and you are on the first season, so it's just up and away from here. So, man, we wish you the best, and thanks for being on the UnSung podcast.
Man, thanks, Mr. Blake. Congratulations on the podcast.
I appreciate it, buddy.
To this place that's around him, he's lightning.
We want to thank beautiful contributors for allowing us to use their music for the UnSung podcast. You can support them by going to any platform, anywhere you listen to music, and purchasing and listen to their music. They also might have some vinyl or CD still available. You can reach out to them, but support beautiful contributors.